and then covered in leather. So it absorbs the blows. So no metal shields.
And sword fighting, ladies and gents. Clashing blades, again and again and again. That didn't happen either. A medieval sword is razor sharp. If you slam it against another one, you'll destroy the sword in seconds. Now listen to this bit. In a sword fight, you don't hit the man's sword, you hit the man! Well, of course you do. Otherwise, you end up with something that looks more like medieval Morris dancing. But that isn't sword fighting. And besides, most sword fights would be over in seconds.
As quickly as that. 10 seconds or less, and it's all over. The weight of weapons, ladies and gentlemen. You see men bigger than me picking up swords in tournaments and struggling because they weigh about 10 pounds. Never, ever. There isn't one of these things, the single-handed arming sword, in any collection throughout the world that weighs more than 2 3/4 pounds. That is lighter than most samurai swords. But this is not a toy. This is a lethal surgical instrument. I was reading the other night an account of the Battle of Evesham. A knight told what happened to him in that battle the day before. It goes something like this. In the press of the battle, I came upon a soldier. He had murder in his eyes. My sword struck him at the base of his neck. It then passed diagonally all the way through his body to just here, and then the top half of his body hinged off like a door. Fantastic! But it was the next bit that got me. It went on to say, the soldier took no further part in the battle that day. That day? It was in 2 hours. A miracle to science. But by 1471, the period of the Kingmaker, when this castle was the most mighty, this sword is redundant on the battlefield. If you take a sword to war, it isn't one of these. It's one of those.
This is the sword of the 15th century knight, the hand and a half sword. And if you were a knight 500 years ago, you would get your first one of these when you were 6 years old. And every single day for the rest of your life, you would go out and practice in swordsmanship, training at cutting posts to get your blade speed right and to get your footwork right. Now you'd end your session by chopping your post in half. And these things are selected because they're the same strength as human bone. So you'd end your session by practicing to cut a man's arm off. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to try. Come on.
Richard, Sir Richard, stop.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, I feel that we owe you an explanation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not really medieval knights. No, in fact, I am a 51-year-old diabetic, and he is a failed salesman.
Stick to the script.
Ladies and gentlemen, asked to do this by the castle. We work on the entire thing. But that's different. The cutting through of the post is the one thing we cannot guarantee.